lay pleasure and bhikkhu pleasure. Dve mani bhikkhave sukhani katamani dve gihi sukhancha papaja sukhancha imani ko bhikkhave dve sukhani etadagam bhikkhave imesam dvinam sakkhanam yadidam papaja sukham. The Buddha expressed that there are two kinds of pleasure, namely lay pleasure and bhikkhu pleasure. Of these, bhikkhu pleasure is the greatest. The pleasure derived by living with large amounts of money, large extents of land, spacious and beautiful houses, good household furniture such as beds, tables, chairs, fast and comfortable motor vehicles, pleasant young wives, nice children, rich friends and relatives, good clothes and ornaments, high positions and good jobs is called lay pleasure. They are also called worldly pleasures. Even though one may not enjoy these at a high level, everyone enjoys them at a particular level. Not only humans, even animals enjoy worldly pleasure. They too, along with humans, satisfy themselves with worldly comforts. Feed the children, build houses, somehow find enough food for living. Unwise people who do not know Dhamma consider these pleasures to be great. But it is not so. It is a weak pleasure. Worldly pleasures are full of suffering and dangers. A husband with a wife has to strive day and night to feed and please her. However much she earns, it is not possible to fully satisfy her needs. Complaints regarding shortcomings are ever present for the husband. However much wealth is supplied, it is difficult to satisfy wives. To begin with, the wife loves the husband very much. Talks of even sacrificing her life for the sake of the husband. Most men are deceived by this. Love is not a permanent thing. Love wanes as one gets older. Therefore, the care a wife had for the husband also reduces slowly. If she meets another man whom she considers suitable for her, love for the old husband quickly ends. Thereafter she begins to bother her husband in many ways, sometimes even plots to kill the husband. Some husbands meet with their death due to such machinations of their wives. This is the suffering caused by the worldly possession called the wife. Every worldly possession is associated with such suffering. There is a big competition among people for such possessions. Thousands of people aspire to possess the same item. There are thousands waiting to grab the house, land, property, paddy fields, money and other items owned by an individual. Therefore, a person who acquired such cash and wealth has to make a great effort to protect them. Not only that, he also has to commit many unwholesome acts. It is very difficult to spend the life without worldly possessions, without being immoral. Thus the Tathagata has taught Gharana Nihamanasa Gharana Bhanato Musa Gharana Dinadandasa Pare Sam Aki Anikubato. The above stanza shows that one who does not make effort to acquire new wealth and safeguard existing wealth does not lie regarding the likes of money and property, does not punish thieves and adversaries, and does not deceive others by cunning, cannot maintain lay life. A person who lives a lay life has to commit various immoral acts such as lying. Even those who try to avoid unwholesome actions will suddenly bend towards them due to sudden anger, which is caused by others trying to grab their possessions. That is why even murders are committed over disputes regarding minor items like coconuts and jackfruits. Those who have acquired worldly materials have to suffer injury from fighting with people who come to grab their belongings, go through many difficulties arising from litigation. After death, they will be born in lower worlds due to unwholesome action of beating others. Acquiring of worldly possessions is suffering. Protecting them thereafter is also suffering. It is a source of danger. After death, many end up in the lower worlds because of these. Therefore, the wise who realize the dangers of sense desire relinquish them, leave lay life, and take pabbajja. Those who do not have the wisdom to realize the dangers of sensual desires are deceived by defilements, remain attached to sense objects, suffer in this world, and fall into lower worlds after death. A bhikkhu who has overcome greed and lives detached from sense objects does not undergo the suffering caused by possessions such as wife and children, land and property, cash, greed and pleasure resulting from them. Such restful pleasure is called bhikkhu pleasure. The peace of mind derived from cultivating metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion, and samadhi, concentration, is also the bhikkhu pleasure. This bhikkhu pleasure cannot be experienced by all as would the worldly pleasure, which is also applicable to animals. It is pleasure enjoyed by those who are wise enough to realize the immaturity and suffering associated with sensual pleasures, have diminished or completely overcome defilements, and have lofty ideas. The unwise bhikkhu who lives infatuated with defilements does not enjoy the bhikkhu pleasure, even though he spends an ordained life. He even fails to understand that bhikkhu pleasure is both the unwise lay bhikkhu individuals, infatuated with defilements, feel that bhikkhu pleasure is harmful and full of suffering. Pabbajja is enjoyable only to those who have diminished the defilements such as greed and conceit. If one has reduced defilements to a certain extent, pabbajja is enjoyable to the same extent. King Mahakappina, after being ordained, was uttering with joy, Aho Sukham, Aho Sukham. Wherever he went, such joyful utterance was due to the greater pleasurable feelings experienced during pabbajja as compared with the time as a monarch. Once upon a time, a bodhisattva who ruled Varanasi as King Brahmadatta, having learned the Dhamma from a Pacheka Buddha, set aside desires for sensual pleasures, sat in a room and meditated. He uttered the following due to the resultant pleasure. Dhirathu subhahu kame dughandhe bahu kantake ye aham pati sevanto na labhim tarisam sukham. Let the foul-smelling, plentiful, sensual objects which have many enemies be insulted. I did not enjoy a pleasure such as this from those sense objects, is the meaning of the above Pali stanza. Kings have the highest sensual pleasures. In the human world, praise of the bhikkhu pleasures by kings who have enjoyed the highest worldly pleasures proves that bhikkhu pleasure is the highest. There are bhikkhus living in cities and stay in properly constructed, spacious, beautiful buildings with items such as beds, chairs, and tables of high quality while consuming delicious food, being respected by people, traveling in high quality vehicles, occupying high positions, and having employees who attend to all their needs. There are bhikkhus who may not be so respectful, so respected, but enjoy benefits of good lodging and land and paddy fields, vehicles and money. They also enjoy a certain type of pleasure. However, it must be said that what they enjoy is not bhikkhu pleasure. Taking pabbaja after having seen such bhikkhus and hoping for such comforts is taking a wrong path. Feeling sorry for not having such facilities and striving to gain them whilst a bhikkhu is also taking a wrong path. If you do receive good lodging and food by righteous means, accepting and using them is not wrong. Greed for them is wrong. Bhikkhu pleasure enhances with the reduction of material possessions. Increase in consumables reduces bhikkhu pleasure. One must learn to be satisfied with what is received in order to enjoy bhikkhu pleasure. It is a great bhikkhu quality. Temples, land and paddy fields, money and high positions are not the measure of greatness of a bhikkhu. A bhikkhu should be rated by the qualities such as the simplicity of needs. Bhikkhu with less means should not be considered poor. A bhikkhu becomes rich because of his good qualities. Arindama, the king of Benares, who was infatuated with sensual pleasures, saw Pacheka Buddha devoid of sense desires with a shaven head, wearing a robe made of sewing together pieces of cloth, having no parents, and sitting under a tree in the king's gardens, called him a poor person. Then the Pancheka Buddha uttered, Na Raja Kappano hoti dhammam kayena pasayam yo dhammam niram katva dhamma anuvattati Swaraja kapano hoti papo paparayano. O great king, one who has acquired the supramundane Dhamma through the noble path is not poor. Someone who rejects the Dhamma and lives as a sinner, helping other sinners, is poor. Thereafter the king inquired from the Pacheka Buddha how he was getting on. Pacheka Buddha described the bhikkhu pleasures as follows. Sadapi bharamadhanasa angarasa bhikkhuno na te sampotkote opentina kumbhim na kalopiyam Paranita mesana tena yapenti subhata. O king, bhikkhus who do not possess houses or wealth, do not collect wealth and gain in granaries, pots and baskets. Well-behaved bhikkhus survive by begging for cooked food from others' homes. Therefore, it is always good for the bhikkhus always well. Dutiyampi bharamadhanasa angarasa bhikkhuno anavajhapindo bhuta bhonakcha kochuparodati. A bhikkhu should not engage in the practice of medicine, astrology, the occult, or use deception to obtain requisites, but consume only the food obtained by means in keeping with the Dhamma. No harm due to defilements such as greed comes the way of the bhikkhu who consumes food received by proper means. Therefore, the bhikkhu who has no home or wealth is also secondly well and happy. Tatyampi bharamadhanasa anagarasa bhikkhuno nibbhuto pindo bhotabho nachapo chu parodhati. The bhikkhu should consume well-gotten food in a state of proper reflection in order to avoid the arising of defilements. As it does not result in the arising of defilements, the bhikkhu who consumes cold food and does not have a home or wealth, is also well and happy for the third time. Katutampi bharanmadhanasa angarasa bhikkhuno muttasa rate charato sangho yassa na vajyati. The bhikkhu who goes about the country without any attachment to laymen, as my relative, my benefactor, as no bondage, therefore the bhikkhu who has no home or wealth is well and happy fourthly as well. Panchampi bhadramadhanas anagaras bhikkhuno nagaram hi daihamanam hi nassa kinchi adhayyata. Even if a city catches fire, a bhikkhu without a home or wealth has nothing that would be burnt. Therefore, a bhikkhu who has no home or wealth is well and happy for the fifth time as well. Chittampi bhadra madhanas angaras bhikkhuno rate vilumpamanpi nassa kinchi adharata. Even when enemies begin to loot an entire country, they will not take anything away from a bhikkhu who has no home or wealth. Therefore, the homeless bhikkhu is well and happy for the sixth time as well. Sattamampi bhadramadhanasa angarasa bhikkhuno korehi rakhitam maggam ye chane paripattaka pattachivara mandaya sotim gacchati subhato. Bhikkhu who is of no interest to burglars who lie in waiting to rob, tax collectors and highway robbers, as he has nothing to be robbed of or collect taxes on, goes about comfortably carrying gold and robes. Being able to go about in such a manner, the bhikkhu is also well and happy for the seventh time. Attampi bharam madhanas angaras bhikkhuno yam yam disam pakamati anapekoa gacchati. The bhikkhu who has no wealth kept in safes and chests goes somewhere carrying bowl and robe with no expectations about the place stayed at before. Being able to go so, the bhikkhu is well and happy for the eighth time as well. The Pacheka Buddha taught the king Arindama only a small part of bhikkhu pleasure. The king Arindama, realizing the truth after the discourse by the Pacheka Buddha, abdicated to get ordained and achieved absorptions and supernormal knowledges, and was born in the Brahma realm after death, as stated. Pabbajita bhavo dullabho. Bhikkhu pleasure is a rare pleasure. Lay pleasures, which are enjoyed even by animals, are found everywhere. The wise take the rare pabacha and this samsara, which consists of births and deaths, and enter the blissful state of Nibbana.